The X-Men timeline is just all over the place. So much so, they had to make a whole movie in order to try and make sense of the mess. Didn't really do that much good though, still as confusing as ever. Today, we're going to try and sort through the mess, pick through the different timelines, and make sense of the X-Men chronology. And starting out, just want to say that the two Deadpool movies aren't included on this list, just because they make no sense trying to fit them into this whole timeline thing. I mean, when your main character not only breaks the fourth wall and knows he's in a movie, but can also travel to the past, travel to alternate timelines, even travel to the real world, well, it just doesn't make sense to try and actually make sense of it. Deadpool is just the exception to all of these rules. Now, the original X-Men films were launched by 2000's X-Men, originally set in an unspecified near future. As the years passed, though, Fox finally began to lock the timeline down, especially in the build-up to the release of 2014's X-Men Days of Future Past. This timeline includes anything set before the divergence in X-Men Days of Future Past. So that means it includes the whole of X-Men First Class, the first X-Men Trilogy, X-Men Origins Wolverine, and The Wolverine. It then ends with X-Men Days of Future Past, with the X-Men launching out on a desperate plan to rewrite history. The ancient and powerful mutant Apocalypse rises to power in Egypt, where for the next few centuries he will conquer and destroy many civilizations and be worshipped as a god. Apocalypse builds the pyramids in Egypt with his telekinetic powers. Apocalypse is betrayed by his followers, leaving them entombed in the pyramid of his four horsemen. The Phoenix Force destroys the Dabari planet. They begin to follow across the cosmos in an effort to claim the power as their own. James Hallett is born. James' powers manifest, and he and his half-brother Victor Creed abandon their family home to go on the run. James and Victor fight for the Union in the Civil War. James and Victor fight in the US Army during World War I. Eric Lyncher's powers begin to manifest at Auschwitz, and he becomes a test subject for Sebastian Shaw. Charles Xavier meets Raven Darkholm in Xavier's mansion, and Raven is adopted shortly afterwards as Charles' sister. James and Victor participate in the D-Day invasion, serving the US 29th Infantry Division. James transfers from Europe to the Pacific Theater, where he finds himself imprisoned in a Japanese POW camp near Nagasaki. On August 9th, he saves Ichiro Yoshida's life from the atomic bomb. Magneto tours the world seeking revenge on the Nazis responsible for the Holocaust. Moira McTaggart's investigations into the Hellfire Club lead her to discover the existence of mutants, and she approaches Charles Xavier for help. Xavier and Magneto form an alliance against Sebastian Shaw, with Xavier forming the first class of his X-Men. The X-Men confront the Hellfire Club at Cuba, and a schism forms during the final confrontation, with Magneto creating his first brotherhood of mutants and leaving Charles paralyzed. Magneto is blamed for the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, although he insists on his innocence. Eric claims that he was trying to save JFK, saying as how Kennedy was secretly a mutant. Charles Xavier opens his school for gifted youngsters. Most of the staff and students of Xavier's school have been drafted into the Vietnam War by this point. Xavier sinks into depression, becoming addicted to a drug designed by Hank that allowed him to walk, but simultaneously suppressed his powers. After having broken out of several prisons during the 1960s, Magneto is finally subdued by a specialized prison designed by Trask Industries. It's located in the Pentagon, 1,320 feet below the Earth's surface, and is composed of industrial-grade polymers and concrete in order to negate Magneto's powers. Mystique assassinates Bolivar Trask in Paris. The Sentinel project is unveiled shortly afterwards and immediately goes global. While in Vietnam, Victor Creed kills a senior officer, and Logan defends him from retaliating soldiers. The two are arrested, eventually sent to be executed by a firing squad. However, their regenerative healing abilities prevent them from being killed. Logan and Victor meet William Stryker and join Team X. Logan quits Team X. Colonel William Stryker sends his son to Xavier's school, but learns that Xavier is encouraging Jason to use and control his powers, and furiously withdraws him from the school. Stryker ends up sending his own son to his 3 Mile Island facility after the death of his wife. Sabretooth begins to hunt down and kill members of Stryker's old Team X, kidnap mutant children for Stryker, and murders Logan's lover. Logan is subjected to the Weapon X project, with his skeleton being infused with adamantium, but manages to break loose and takes down Trask's 3 Mile Island facility. He's shot in the head with an adamantium bullet for his troubles, losing his memories. Charles Xavier recruits 3 Mile Island escapees into his school. Charles Xavier and Eric Lyncher visit Jean Grey and her parents at their home to discuss Jean attending Xavier's school. While there, they discover she's much more powerful than they could have ever expected. World leaders prepare to gather for a summit in New York discussing the Mutant Problem, and Magneto determines to use his technology to mutate them. In order to do so, he attempts to acquire Rogue in order to have her use her powers to duplicate his own, as Magneto believes powering this device will kill him. Magneto is stopped by the X-Men with the help of Wolverine, who has stumbled across Rogue and formed a bond with her. Colonel Stryker uses the mind-controlled Nightcrawler to launch an attack on the White House and justify the use of extreme measures to neutralize mutants. His agents raid Xavier's school, scattering the X-Men, and successfully capture Charles Xavier to use his powers to kill all mutants. The X-Men ally Magneto and his surviving Brotherhood to defeat Stryker, although Jean Grey is believed to have been killed during the confrontation. Worthington Industries develop a mutant cure, leading to a confrontation between the X-Men and the Brotherhood in San Francisco. A resurrected Jean Grey taps into her psychic powers and threatens all of humanity, but is ultimately killed by Wolverine. Wolverine travels to Japan in order to honor an old debt, and in doing so is drawn into conflict with the Yakuza and the Silver Samurai. Professor X and Magneto meet Wolverine at the airport. In a last-ditch effort to avert the War of the Sentinels, Kitty Pryde sends Wolverine's consciousness back in time to his younger self in 1973 to stop Mystique from killing Bolivar Trask. Logan succeeds, and by doing so, inadvertently erases this original timeline from history. X-Men Days of Future Past saw the X-Men successfully rewrite history by preventing the assassination of Bolivar Trask, and by doing so, they created a whole new timeline. The timelines are the same up until Wolverine travels back in time, so this revised timeline only includes the new parts of Days of Future Past and films like X-Men Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix. And then there's Logan in the New Mutants. Now, Logan takes place in a far-off future where almost all the X-Men are dead. And it does have some connections to the core films. The post-credit scene of X-Men Apocalypse explained where the Essex Corporation obtained the genetic material they used to create X-23. New Mutants backs this up, showing the Essex Corporation experimenting on children while simultaneously still making it clear that the X-Men are around. But there are some other things that point to it being its own alternate reality. The movie takes place in 2029, but Logan mentions to Charles that there hasn't been a new mutant born in 25 years. And this doesn't line up with the thriving school that we had seen just 6 years earlier in 2023. But for the most part, it appears as the movie are trying to say that Logan takes place in this new revised timeline. So that's what we're going to go with. Wolverine's consciousness is transmitted from the future, and he's able to ally with Charles Xavier and Magneto in order to prevent Mystique from assassinating Bolivar Trask. Although the Sentinel program is still launched, it's disrupted by the X-Men and Mystique, and promptly shut down, with Trask even being arrested for selling military secrets. Charles Xavier reopens his school for gifted youngsters, welcoming in a whole new generation of teachers and students. At 8 years old, Jean Grey accidentally loses control of her abilities and causes a car accident that kills her parents. Professor X finds Jean and takes her to his school, promising her a safe home and a new family. However, he also shields her memories and puts psychic blocks in order to limit her powers. In reality, Jean's father survived and purposely abandoned Jean out of fear and hate, giving her over to Charles. Eric Lyncher meets Magda Gertzky and remarries, having a daughter named Nina. Wolverine is captured by William Stryker and taken to Alkali Lake in order to participate in Weapon X. Magneto's family life ends in tragedy when his wife and children are killed. Afterwards, he's tricked into working with Apocalypse, who has been unwittingly awakened by Moira McTaggart and is now traveling the globe seeking out new horsemen. Weapon X soldiers take advantage of the crisis in order to capture the students of Xavier's school, but they escape with the help of Wolverine, whose skeleton has been implanted with adamantium. Jean Grey ultimately defeats Apocalypse by unleashing her true power. The X-Men are also officially formed, with Cyclops, Jean, Storm, Quicksilver, Nightcrawler, Beast, and Mystique as their field leader. Eric works out a deal with the US government to create Genosha, an island safe haven for mutants only. However, the deal is, in exchange for the land, he must never set foot off the island. Charles and Raven provide help locating mutants in need. When the X-Men are tasked with saving a space shuttle, a solar flare hits Jean. Although she survives, she returns different, with significantly amplified powers. When those powers allow her to break down the mental blocks Xavier placed upon her years ago, Jean suffers PTSD, making her powers uncontrollable and filling her with rage and pain. Eventually, she has to fight the X-Men that are attempting to stop her from hurting innocent people. In the ensuing battle, she injures Quicksilver and kills Mystique. She seeks help from Magneto, but is turned away when he sees what a threat she is. Jean is ultimately embraced by the Dabari aliens, whose leader Vuk explains that she has been possessed by a cosmic force known as the Phoenix. Unfortunately, the Dabari turn on Jean as Vuk seeks to obtain her power for herself and enslave humanity. The X-Men win the battle, but it forces Jean to explode in a burst of Phoenix energy. The aftermath of this event sees Beast taking over the school, and Xavier retiring to Paris to hang out with Magneto. One day, a Phoenix figure appears in the sky over them, implying that Jean may not be dead after all. Magik, Wolfsbane, and other teenage mutants are forced to try and come to grips with their superpowers while staying at a secret facility. It's revealed that this secret facility is actually run by the Essex Corporation, as they are attempting to cultivate mutant killers. The X-23 project creates Laura Kinney, a female clone of Wolverine. An alternate universe Wolverine awakens in this future timeline, experiencing a reality where old friends such as Cyclops and Jean Grey are still alive, and Xavier's school is flourishing. Charles Xavier suffers a massive psychic seizure, injuring over 600 people in Westchester and killing his X-Men. Wolverine takes Xavier to live an isolated life in Mexico. Some of the X-23 children escape Transigen and attempt to travel to Sanctuary in Canada. Laura tracks down Logan and Xavier, and they help her and the other mutant kids escape Transigen's hunters. Both Xavier and Logan are killed along the journey, but it was a good death. So there we have it. That is the X-Men timeline. What y'all think? What do you want to see next? Sound off in the comments down below. Also be sure the like button, the subscribe button, and I will see y'all next time.